Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Derek with Nock and Stock, and today I'm going to show you how to build arrows. Hope you enjoy. So to save you money, you can build your own arrows at home. Obviously you can't design and build your own shafts, so that's all you got to buy is your shafts. You buy all the pieces too as well, like your fletchings. Some people just buy the nocks, inserts, stuff like that. But most people when you buy shafts, they'll include the nocks. The nocks and the inserts are included. So it saves you some money, but it teaches you a lot on. If you build your own arrows, you know they were done right, okay? Because there's lots of little things you can do. I'm going to show you all these little things you can do to make every arrow more consistent with each other and overall make you a better shooter, okay? So the first things first, you get your shafts, right? And these are the Hunter XTs from Gold Tip. That's what I shoot. It's a 340 spine. I shoot these. So the first thing you want to do is no arrow saw in the world cuts an arrow perfectly straight. It looks straight even to your eye, but it's not. It's really not. So the first thing you do is you need to file these down to where they're completely 100% 0-0 flat. Okay, and once you do that to all the shafts, then they're that much closer to the same arrow. So you can see that right there. I use so there's nothing on that end, so it's black. I don't know if you can see it or not. That end's green, okay? You use this neon green Sharpie. You can use black, but I think it's a little harder to see. So I use neon green. And then you take this. This is called a squaring tool. It's made by G5. And it's pretty simple. Oh, where'd my green end go? There it is. So, simple. You turn it. Got a diamond cutting shaver on this end. I like to hold it, and I'll press it down with my thumb, hold it tight flat, and then I'll push forward and spin it with my other hand. And you want to count your turns. So that's 10, and check it. Now you can see there's still some green left. I don't know if you can see, but I can see. Right there at the top. So that's green, but the other part's black. That means the arrow's not 100% square. It's not flat, okay? And that's going to cause a problem later when you start pushing on inserts and nocks. You want to do both ends of the shaft. So if they're not square, then nothing's square. Your rod head won't be square when it's flying through the air, and it causes problems down the range, okay? So, and I've had these shafts. This is my last arrow. These shafts are all over the place. Most of them take between 10 and 15 turns, but I've had one take close to 40. So that was a really bad cut on that arrow. But it doesn't matter though, because we're gonna, I didn't count that time. Still got a little bit left. There you go. Okay. So there you go. Both ends are square. Now we can start building it. So now, once you've squared it, go ahead and put your insert in, or your knock, sorry. Knock, okay? Next you're going to fletch it. You could just glue in your inserts right now if you wanted to, but I fletch them first. So I got this little cheap fletcher, bought it years ago. I think they still make it though. It's a AAE Cavalier USA. So Dad bought it and I stole it from him, and then it works pretty good. I'll get you guys down here so you can. Alright guys, so let's get you down here. So it's pretty simple. So there's lots of other fletchers on the market, but this one works pretty well for me. So take your insert, you put it in this little insert thing, read your instructions, it'll tell you. Pop this in there. Now when you take it out, you can turn it and put it back in another slot, and it'll put it perfectly. Your clamp will put the fletching exactly where it needs to be, and then for the third fletching, rotate it one more time, put it in, and you're good to go. Okay? Okay. So, I'm doing green and red and black. So I do two reds, and I'll show you why I do two in one color. So you'll have little grooves right here. There's little tally marks right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Mark it with a marker so you know you're putting the fletchings in the exact same place every time. Put it on there like that. So there's my fletching. That's where your glue. So the glue I use, I read this on Archery Talk. I guess this has been doing pretty well. It's Gorilla Super Glue with it's a controlled squeeze glue. You don't want to get too much and you don't want too little. You kind of just like a fine bead up and down this fletching right here. Okay. Go. Make sure you get the whole thing. And then this little clamp just slides down inside, and that's it. Hold it down for a minute. You want to push the glue out of the fletchings and get the air bubbles out. I promise the fletching will last a lot longer. And this little tool is great because if you break a fletching off for some weird reason, you can just line it back up with the other fletchings and then just rotate it once and put your fletching exactly back where it was. You need to do some prep work to the arrow. If you do that, you have to scrape the old glue off and prime it with something. So there you go, there's one. So put it back on how it was. The knock will put it right where it was for you. So take it out, rotate it, push it back in. Next fletching. I have just like replaced the fletching and then went and shot it like an hour later, and it held up fine, just so you guys know. So there you go, fletchings. So far we've got both ends squared, okay? You know, knock side. Now we've got our fletching. So you're almost there. All that's left is pretty much your inserts, and we'll get into that in just a second. All right, guys. So obviously, alright, so here you go, guys. Hopefully you can see this. So you want to start off with the same amount of each epoxy. You know, try and match it the best you can. Oh man, this one doesn't want to go. There it goes. Okay, same amount. You don't need a lot per insert, you guys. Lid back on. Get you whatever you're going to use, like a little toothpick, and you're going to mix it up. Or whatever you decide to use, make sure you follow the directions. So I like epoxy. It's a little flexible, a little more flexible than other glues, I've noticed. And I've noticed this works the best for inserts. So once you got it all mixed up, all you want to do is you put a little bit on the very end, the end that will go closest to the knock, I should say. Okay, because as you're pushing this up the shaft, it's going to coat the inside of the shaft and continue going up. So once we get that in there, we'll push it up. You can see the glue kind of pull up. It's alright. You just want to spin it on your scratch paper. Spin it. Make sure that insert's in there good and tight. And then you want to get as much excess glue off the shaft and the insert as you possibly can. Do not let glue get in there, obviously, because then your broadheads and your field tips won't spin very good into it. So, and since we squared this, remember we squared this with the squaring tool, we know that that's a perfect, as perfect as you can get fit for that insert to that shaft, okay? So I put this in the done pile. Okay, so we're back to the last step. And you're pretty much done if you just want to shoot field tips and archery shoot and stuff like that. However, so we let this glue dry. This is our insert right here. We let this glue dry. It says wait 24 hours before you handle them a lot. Excuse me. So it's the same thing. All we're going to do is square this, because I can guarantee you it's not quite square. It looks pretty close to your eye, but so all we're going to do is we're going to get back our G5 squaring tool back out. We're going to swap the heads. We're going to turn it around, so now we're cutting aluminum and not carbon. So we're going to swap it around. Get your marker. And you're going to color the end of your insert. Like that. So now it's black. You can't see it. Anyway, so then you get on your tool. Hold it tight. Spin it once, twice, 3, 4, 5. Have a look at it. It's pretty good. There's some spots, I don't know if you can see it, but there's some spots there where they're still black, which means it's not completely flush. It's not flat. So, and once it's like, because at first when you start cutting it, you can feel it taking more. It's because it's not flat, but now that it's actually really pretty close, it's only grabbing that one piece, those little pieces that aren't quite square. There you go. So there's that. So now, so we're going to start with a full flush arrow. So we started off with the shaft, right? And we're now with the insert, which is square. We know it's square. It's then glued to a squared shaft. We did the square on the shaft, okay? Then running down the shaft, did our fletchings, and then this is now this is also square. We did both sides of the shaft before we started building them, so we know that this is square. So this is as square as you can get when you're building your own arrows. Lastly, so that's pretty much done if you were just going to shoot field points or target shoots, or I think that's just about good enough for everybody. However, there are people who think that they need to line up their fletchings with their broadheads. This is the Wacom broadhead. This is what I shoot most of the time. And I don't think they fly any different if the blades are not matching the fletchings. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this fletching's right on top and that blade's right on top. So these are pretty square and matching each other. So the one good thing I can see with it is consistency. If every arrow is the same, you're going to be more consistent, obviously. So if every single one of your fletchings on every arrow is matching every blade on every broadhead, you're going to be that much closer. I do it. I don't see a huge difference when I shoot. It's hard to group tune broadheads, but you can. So it's kind of hard to tell, but yes, I think it does make a little difference. However, there is ways you can do this. So you can build your broadhead, your arrows backwards. Instead of what we did, we glue the insert in. We square this, obviously. We glue the insert in. Square the insert, put the broadhead on. Okay. Now tighten it down, lock it down like you're going to go hunting, and then line up that blade where you're going to put that first vein and glue them on. You can do it that way. However, the reason I did it is because the way this is now, we can now, because everybody, you can't just go pull your inserts out of your arrows. Once they're glued in, they're glued in. So I'm just letting you know, if you guys want to tune your arrows like this, you can get a squaring tool. You can actually turn the insert enough and shave enough off an insert that you'll get more turns on your broadhead, eventually lining up your blades with your feathers, if that makes sense, or fletchings. Dad calls them feathers. So, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to put them down below, or email me at nockandstock.com. I'd love to help you out if I could. We'll get some video of us shooting these here shortly, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video, just showing you that you can make your own arrows and you can save some money. And when you build your own arrows, you know that these arrows are true. You know everything's true and square. So, we'll see you guys in the woods.